The managing director of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde, held a joint press conference with the governor of the Central Bank of Kuwait, Dr. Mohammad Al-Hashel, following her one-day visit to the country. Sarah Fares-Glubb has the details of Lagarde's visit in this report.
The IMF, Madame Christine Lagarde, arrived in the state of Kuwait on an official visit with an agenda that was completely packed with back-to-back meetings and appearances.
The purpose of my visit is to, again, express gratitude for the efforts undertaken by Kuwait. Hopefully deepen the partnership that we have with the Kuwaiti authorities, whether it's on the CEF, training, education, capacity building, to establish Kuwait as a hub for that expertise, and to, as I said, really recognize the role played by Kuwait in respect of stability in the region and be able to discuss that.
During her brief yet hectic visit, Madame Lagarde held talks with His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, Minister of Finance Sheikh Salim Abdul Aziz Al-Sabah, Governor of the Central Bank of Kuwait Dr. Mohammad Al-Hashel, leading Kuwaiti women and members of the private sector, and students at Kuwait University.
And we had a chance to discuss the current economic situation of the country, as well as its role and very important role in the region. I was able to express my gratitude to him for the hospitality of the country, for the generosity of Kuwait in trying to be a broker of education and stability in the region. Kuwait has had a long history of being a pioneer in many respects, but on the issue of education, capacity building, making sure that as many officials as possible in the region are taught and receive technical assistance and training, the Kuwait authorities are doing a lot. The IMF has various hubs in the world for capacity building, training and technical assistance: Singapore, Mauritius for Africa, Vienna and Kuwait. So Kuwait has received many officials in the last couple of years, over 2,000 from 22 different countries, who are learning in the art of public finance, macroeconomic policies, macroprudential measures, and so on and so forth. A broker of stability as well, when clearly the country decides to support the efforts of countries in transition, and we certainly had a chance to discuss with His Highness the situation in this part of the world for all Arab countries in transition.
Lagarde also visited the IMF Middle East Center for Economics and Finance in Kuwait City, which has trained over 2,100 government officials from 22 Arab countries by offering more than 40 courses this year alone, the bulk of which were organized by the IMF.
That gave me a chance to really give our view about the stability of the Kuwaiti economy, what we see as a necessity going forward in a country that does not have fiscal imperatives because it generates fiscal surpluses, because it relies on significant resources, but which faces the necessity to look at its diversification for the future, and which needs to also spend wisely public funding to make sure that it's invested heavily in infrastructure. Now, infrastructure, most people will think of bridges, highways, and public works. But infrastructure is also about education, is also about health, is also about making sure that there is a safety net that is available to the population.
She also announced the release of a book written by the IMF, the only one in existence, on the macroeconomics of the Arab states and the Gulf, which provides an insight into the functioning of these countries and the policy challenges ahead. On her first official visit to the state of Kuwait as managing director of the International Monetary Fund, Madame Christine Lagarde held this joint press conference to address some of the main economic and investment issues in the country and announce the launch of the new book, Macroeconomics in the Arab States and the Gulf Region. From the Regency Hotel, this is Sarah Glubb reporting for English News.